everyone, I'm Asna. I'm a junior from Inland Section, and I'm so grateful that you took this opportunity to improve your public speaking. As a freshman, I was able to compete at NLC, and I placed first as a national champion for Public Speaking 1. These tips that I'm about to share with you today are those that I learned throughout that experience and through experiences since then. But these tips are not only supposed to be applied to your stage presence, they should also be applied to just the regular and general networking experiences that you have every day. My first tip for you is to be genuine. Whether you are talking to someone face to face or whether you are talking to an audience, whenever you're persuading someone of something, you need to be passionate about that topic yourself. If you do not relay that passion, they won't be passionate and then they won't be persuaded. The easiest way to be passionate about what you are talking about is to actually believe what you are talking about. Saying something that you don't necessarily believe in may be required of you sometimes, but is not the best way to go. Also, the simplest way to relay your passion is to simply smile. Smiling can convey so much emotion and can definitely allow your audience to know that you are passionate and genuine about what you are saying. My second tip for you is to make sure that you inflect. Now, everyone says to inflect your voice, but what does that really mean? There are several components to your voice, and inflection means to inflect every single one of these components throughout your speech. And these components can include, for example, emotion. Sometimes you need to be super enthusiastic and happy about what you are talking about, but other times you need to transition to a more introspective or even a somber tone to make sure that you keep your audience guessing and that you keep them engaged at all times. Moreover, you need to make sure that you are inflecting your speed. Speed is also a very important component in relaying that emotion. Sometimes you need to be super fast when you are trying to be emphatic and very passionate about what you are saying. But other times, in order to be even more emphatic, you need to be slower and you need to be more decisive with your words. Or when you are trying to allude to a specific phrase that you will circle back to later on in your speech. But overall, whether you are inflecting your emotion or your speed, you must make sure to inflect your volume. Sometimes you just need to be loud, and sometimes you need to be out there with your volume. But other times you need to be a little bit softer, and that comes with tying into your emotion and speed. That maybe you're softer when you are speaking slowly or when you are being somber. But then other times you are louder when you need to be more emphatic or haphazard with your voice, or when you are speaking faster. Each of these components need to be mixed and matched within your speech so that you keep your audience guessing. My third tip is to make sure that your content is impeccable. And this includes making sure that your content is more motivational than anything else. Making sure that you are convincing your audience to do something rather than believe something is integral to making sure that you structure your content correctly. Urging your audience to do something and to take a certain action or to say something is much more persuasive than simply asking them to believe whatever you believe in. Moreover, you need to make sure that you are delivering certain anecdotes, whether they are personal anecdotes or those of eminent figures, because those are easy ways to make sure that you can choose from a variety of emotions. There are millions of anecdotes out there. There are millions of your own and there are millions of others, which means there are a million different possibilities that you could take with your speech and therefore a million different emotions that you can allow your audience to feel. But let's just say that you don't have time for a story. Maybe you would have time for a metaphor. A metaphor is an easy way to make sure that maybe you have like a 3-second statement, a 3-second story that allows your audience to understand what you are saying, but in a very concise manner. In general, whether you're speaking to one person or to a group, you need to keep these ideas in mind. But before I leave you, I want to make sure that I give you some short pieces of advice. Do make sure that every single piece and element of your speech, whether it's movement, content, or just your delivery, each element must have purpose. If an element does not have purpose, it has no business being in your speech. You should take it out and replace it with something that does. Another piece of advice that I have for you is to make sure that everything has a connected purpose. And lastly, but not the least, make sure that you practice. Practicing can often lead you to understand what you are doing wrong or what you are doing right. And making sure that you do know those things allows you to understand that maybe you need to scratch half of your speech. And that's a very common process, and you need to be comfortable with change as a speaker, or else you cannot develop as a speaker. With these tips, I want to urge you that you should have fun with public speaking and make sure that you take it as an opportunity to develop your sense of character. If you have any more questions for me about public speaking or just anything in general, please feel free to comment down below or follow my Instagram and DM me. Thank you for watching this video, and I wish you the best with your public speaking endeavors.